Mosig and you're watching Artist Life. Well, welcome to my studio. Today's challenge is to have a greater understanding of how darks and lights work. So if you look around us, everything has darks and lights. So by understanding the values on things around us, that will help us to create things that are a little bit more realistic versus things that are flat. So what I have before me is a setup of 3 fruits. So I'll be talking about that, and also as I get a greater understanding of that, I am going to apply what I've learned today in my future projects that I have lined up for me. Okay, so if you're ready, let's start now. I have this charcoal paper. It's by Strathmore, if you can see that. Okay, so I'm using the 300 series. You can use 140 pounder, 300 series, so whatever works for you, as long as it's charcoal paper. So, and also I have a few types of vine charcoal. So I'm using the willow vine charcoal here. Need an eraser, and I have white pastel and a compressed charcoal. Okay, so if you're ready, let's start. That we're doing here is to learn how to capture darks and lights with just the use of 3 tones: darks, lights, and middle tones. If you look at the background, what do I have? I have a middle tone. Then I have that white paper, which tells me how dark that middle tone is, right? So what I'm going to do is take a charcoal. I want to first start with the largest shape. If this were a portrait, the largest shape would be the big areas on the face, the forehead, the cheeks, the chin, right? It wouldn't be like the eyes, the nose, the nostril, the crease inside the lips, right? It would just be a massive area. So that's what you're doing here. Okay, so block this in. Okay, like that. True? Okay, now if you notice, I already went a little too dark because I'm going to adjust the tone. Here's white paper. I'm squinting. You have to squint. When you put this white paper here and you squint and you look at that paper and the background, right? What you see is that contrast-wise between background to the white paper, contrast-wise background to this white paper, this is too dark. So I need to lighten it. I have charcoal, kneaded eraser. That's it. And then I am ready to sketch, okay? So I don't want to forget my shapes that I see within. Everything is made out of shapes. Like here's the pear, which is circle on the bottom, circle on top. So here's the bottom of that pepper, right? And then you have a lemon here. Okay. So, background, once again, let's squint here. It's still slightly dark. It's still slightly dark. So, sometimes this happens. Sometimes you'll need to go in and just adjust the tone, because the idea is to simplify. You're simplifying everything into one tone. You don't want to put changes, right? Okay? Good. So now, rule of thumb. Usually when you have something that's a middle tone, it's easier. It's not, this rule is not set on concrete stone. It's easier to block in all the dark areas, and that's what I'm going to do. As I do that, I want to hold on to my drawing, so let's work on this. I want you to squint. When you squint, this area is all dark, right? So look at this while I'm doing it. squint while I'm doing this. So I want you to squint. So here is the pepper, which is the dark tone. The left side, obviously, is going to be darker. But then you also have the shadow. So everything is the same value. Do you notice that? This, and this becomes the same value, including the lemon and this little portion underneath this lemon. Fold brown. The fold here you want to draw because that's going to help you with perspective, right? So now you have dark and you have middle tones. Okay, let's focus on light tones. Ready? Kneaded eraser. Sometimes you can take your finger and block away. Okay, and then everything with the finger, if you can, right? And constantly you go back and forth adjusting the drawing. So this looks like a pear, but it needs work. Everything needs work. But what I have here is something that's going to be a fruit. You have a lemon, but it's an oval. Everything is super simplified. You have dark, lights, and middles, right? Good. Light, dark, and middle tone everything. Else in the back, you can take your finger and this fold area where the light gets trapped, right? That's light. Here in the front is light tone, okay? So now switch your attention to the drawing aspect. You never want to leave that alone, okay? So here is the drawing. Okay, and constantly just refine this if you can. Let's take a look at the pepper. So there's one, there's two, and then take this and correct the drawing here slightly. Okay, so I want to go darker here. If you notice, I don't need to blend, right? I can cross hatch to make things darker, and then I can use my finger to take away. Like this. See what I did, right? Okay, and then I have this little, what do you call it? Little branch thing here. Okay, so that. Okay, so now this looks more like a pepper, right? Okay, so I think I need work here on the pear. So let's start with that being light. Now it can't be lighter than this. So don't put too light. So if that's that light, then what this needs to be is much lighter, see? I used this as a reference to this. So now that looks a little bit more 3D, right? So here, okay, this, sometimes I can just take this away by lightening it, okay? And then give some form, like here is rounder. If I take away too much, look what I can do. So now, we talked about darkest dark, which is here and here. In everything, sometimes you have darkest darks. And here's the shadow, right? So the shadow actually starts from here. Let's take this kneaded eraser and create that hard edge. And with my finger, just do that, okay? So, am I done with this? No. But is it starting to look 3D? Yes, it is. Can control my darks, my lights, and my middle tones. That's one thing that I got from this lesson. Number two, reference tone. Is this lighter than that? Is that lighter than this? If it is, excellent. Are parts of one object lighter than other parts or darker than other parts? Absolutely. So I can take that learning into portraits and landscape and whatever else I plan on doing. Make sense? Okay, so let's not forget this darkest dark because that actually sort of completes everything else that I have, okay, in mind. So we know that it needs work, but everything is removable. Nothing here is permanent yet, okay? Well, guys, as you can see, I'm done with my little quick study of these three fruits that I have before me. So this is what I ended up with. It's not quite done yet, but the purpose of this exercise was to have a greater understanding of how darks and lights work, okay? So on to the next project, okay? But before I let you go, I just wanted to remind you of my next video coming up, which I am challenging myself to do a self-portrait, but while I am on the go. What does that mean? Well, you're just gonna have to wait for that video to come out, okay? Hope you enjoyed today's lesson. I know I did. Until next time, happy charcoaling. Bye.